The transportation of dangerous goods in Canada is regulated under the 1992 Federal Transportation and Dangerous Goods Act. Any person who handles, offers for transport, or transports dangerous goods must be adequately trained and hold a valid training certificate. If an inspector requests it when you're on the road, you must provide it immediately. Your employer is responsible for providing training and issuing a training certificate upon completion of training. Some important info about your certificate. Valid for 36 months from date of issue. Self-employed drivers must issue themselves a certificate. You must verify that you are adequately trained. Always keep a copy of the certificate on hand and be able to produce it on immediate notice. Employer or self-employed driver must keep a record of provided training for 24 months. Employer or self-employed driver must keep a description of training material for 24 months. Employer or self-employed driver must keep a copy of certificate for 24 months. The training certificates cannot be transferred to a new employer. If you start work with a new employer, a new certificate must be granted. Under the TDG Act, an inspector may do the following: inspect a consignment of dangerous goods, ensure that any movement of the goods is in compliance with the Act and regulations, prosecute offenders. If found to be non-compliant, drivers may face fines of $50,000 for a first-time offense and up to $100,000 for further offenses. The penalty may also include prison time. What are dangerous goods? According to the TDG Act, a product, substance, or organism included by its nature or by the regulations in any of the classes listed in the schedule of the Act. In other terms, any product that may pose a risk to health, safety, and property. Dangerous goods are categorized into 9 primary classes. Some classes are further separated into subcategories. The subcategories will provide more detail in the dangers of this specific good. We will look at each class category and subcategory as well as the symbol that goes with them. Class 1. Explosives. 1.1. Mass explosion hazard. This material will affect almost the entire load instantaneously. Examples include demolition charges or detonating cord. Examples include demolition charges or detonating cord. 1.2. Fragment projection hazard. Pieces of this material will fly off at a dangerous speed during an explosion. Examples include fireworks or flares. 1.3. Fire hazard. Some explosive materials are also fire hazards. Examples include aerial flares and propelling charges. 1.4. No significant hazard beyond package. This material may include airbag inflators and practice ammunition. 1.5. Very insensitive with a mass explosion hazard. This material includes blasting explosives. 1.6. Extremely insensitive with no mass explosion hazard. Class 2 gases. Containers for these gases may explode when heated. 2.1. Flammable gases. Flammable gases may also be corrosive or toxic. Vapors will travel to a source of ignition and flash back. Examples include propane and flammable aerosols. 2.2. Non-flammable gases. Non-flammable gases may be corrosive or cause suffocation by displacing oxygen. They do not burn readily but may accelerate a fire. Examples include non-flammable aerosols and fire extinguishers with compressed or liquefied gas. 2.2, 5.1. Oxygen and oxidizing gases. These oxidizing gases contribute to the combustion of other materials. Examples include compressed air or compressed oxygen and carbon dioxide. 2.3. Toxic gas. These are extremely poisonous. These gases can also be flammable and or corrosive. Even a low-level exposure can be harmful or fatal if inhaled or absorbed through the skin. Examples include ammonia solution or chlorine. Class 3. Flammable liquids. Flammable liquids give off vapors which will travel to a source of ignition and flash back. Some vapors can be poisonous if inhaled or absorbed through the skin. These liquids may be toxic and or corrosive. Combustible liquids may be ignited by heat, spark, or flames, but have higher flash point and require more effort to ignite. Examples include camphor oil and alcoholic beverages, more than 70% alcohol by volume. Class 4. Flammable solids. These are substances prone to spontaneous combustion. They are also substances that emit flammable gases on contact with water, also known as water-reactive substances. 4.1. Flammable solids. Flammable solids are readily combustible and likely to ignite with friction. Examples include sulfur and coated aluminum powder. 4.2. Substances liable to spontaneous combustion. These may ignite after coming into contact with air. Examples include wet cotton. 4.3. Water-reactive substances. These may ignite on contact with water or moist air, produce flammable gases on contact with water. Examples include aluminum carbide and lithium. Class 5. Oxidizing substances and organic peroxides. 5.1. Oxidizing substances. These substances will accelerate burning when involved in a fire and may explode from heat or contamination. Inhalation, ingestion, or contact with skin and eyes may cause severe injury, burns, or death. Examples include sodium peroxide. 5.2. Organic peroxides. These materials burn rapidly and will ignite wood, oil, fuel, paper, or other organic materials. They are sensitive to impact or friction and may accelerate fires to the point that containers explode. Reactive with skin and clothes and can damage the eyes. There is no vapor hazard unless fire is involved. Examples are substances used as body filler in automobile body shops, such as dibenzoyl peroxide. Class 6. Toxic substances and infectious substances. 6.1. Toxic substances. Material in this class may be toxic or poisonous liquids or solids. They may be fatal if inhaled, swallowed, or absorbed through skin. Inhalation dangers exist if fire is involved or when dust is airborne. Examples include arsenic and calcium cyanide. 6.2. Infectious substances. These materials contain microorganisms that are infectious or that are reasonably believed to be infectious to humans or animals. Examples include germicides, disinfectants, or substances commonly used in disease research. Class 7. Radioactive materials. These substances are radioactive materials within the meaning of the Nuclear Safety and Control Act, with activity greater than 70 kBq over kg. There are three categories that indicate the surface radiation level for a package, with Category 1 being the lowest level and Category 3 the highest. These materials produce harmful radiation, which may not be detected without special equipment. Undamaged packages are safe. Damaged packages can cause external radiation exposure. Do not handle. Examples include nuclear fuel rods. Class 8. Corrosives. These substances corrode steel or non-clad aluminum. They can also cause destruction of all layers of outer skin through to the internal tissues. Inhalation, ingestion, or contact with skin and eyes can result in severe injury, burns, or death. Examples are substances commonly used in batteries and industrial cleaners, sulfuric acid and sodium hydroxide. Class 9. Miscellaneous products. Substances or organisms. These substances do not meet the criteria for classes 1 to 8. This includes genetically modified microorganisms, marine pollutants, elevated temperature materials, and environmentally hazardous substances. There is a danger to public safety if these materials are accidentally released. Examples include substances commonly used in brake shoes, asbestos, or in dry cell batteries, ammonium chloride. Other signs that may need to be displayed in specific situations. Elevated temperature sign. In addition to the primary class placard, the elevated temperature sign must be displayed for dangerous goods that are in transport in a large means of containment. The elevated temperature sign must be displayed on each side and each end of the large means of containment next to each primary class placard for the dangerous goods, or, if there is a subsidiary class placard, next to the subsidiary class placard. Fumigation sign. If fumigation of a large means of containment is done using dangerous goods and the fumigant is the only dangerous goods in transport in the large means of containment, the fumigation sign must be displayed next to or at each entryway into the large means of containment through which a person can enter. The consignor must ensure that the fumigation sign is displayed by the person in charge of the fumigation process, and the sign must have displayed on it the name of the fumigant and the date and time the fumigant was applied. Fumigant